Guess I'm Doing Fine by Beck, but I was like, that's just kind of down.
Well, there you just said it for everybody to know. Like that was the
Yeah.
song you were thinking about. It's a real conceptual opener to this week's RCAD. Welcome to the RCAD, the Ramblecast, where we talk about movies, sports, and anything else we want to talk about. I never introduce us, but here we go. This is episode 167. My name's Matt. Nick doesn't have a song, but if he did, it'd be a Beck song, and it was probably going to be the greatest.
Yeah. I did just because I know that Matt's a big Beck fan, so I was like,
I am. I'm a huge Beck fan. So
Beck's great.
That Colors album, like the thing with Beck is he's kind of like Bowie. It's like if you go in expecting an album, that's not the album you're gonna get.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's like he comes out with an album, you're like, ooh, goody, I'm gonna get. No, that's not the Beck you're gonna get. You're gonna get like, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come out with some slow folk kind of thing, after doing Colors or what he did, Hyperspace was his last album. So
the last one I bought was maybe, I've got it on my phone, but it's like a tan color. It's his face, but it's like 2016's record, I think.
Oh yeah, the Morning Phase.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the one. That's the last one I bought.
Morning Phase is kind of like Sea Change.
Yeah, that's why I got it, because I like Sea Change so much. I was like,
Sea Change is probably one of my favorites. So also it came out at a time where I was really down, and that's like a really perfect broken up heartache album. So
right.
Chris, you're joining us tonight. No Jack tonight.
I'm joining you tonight.
Wait,
yeah,
is it really?
I am joining you. You fucker.
I was trying to introduce. I'm introducing.
What a fucking guest.
I'm introduced. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We appreciate Chris joining.
This is an episode of Owen and Brew's Barbecue.
That's what I was about to say. Is it really technically the Ramblecast without Jack? It's just like 2 weeks of Owen and Brews, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Yeah.
When Jack's away, the boys will play.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Owen and Brews, I'm not sure. I know Matt must have seen it by now, but I'm not sure if you've seen it, Chris. Every May the 4th, Lego.com, we're going to go right into Lego talk, always has a special May the 4th release. It's only for that year, for that week in time. This gets really, but you have to buy so much money of Star Wars Legos.
I sent you the fucking link. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, there, Chris. But
okay, I'd seen it before. I think you sent it to me. But okay, anyway. So for anyone out there that doesn't know, each year though, these Star Wars exclusives tend to be worth some money. Sometimes they're hit and miss, but there's some it's just a minifig, but that minifig will be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars a few years later. This year, it's a very strange one. It's
near and dear to our hearts.
It's Aunt Beru's kitchen scene from A New Hope, and you're like, really? I'm cool. I'm gonna get it, but still, it's just like. That's why of all the things to make, that's what they made, was just her sitting in the kitchen.
Yeah. But you have to spend $160 to get it, right? And the only way that's going to happen is if you buy that stupid land speeder. I'm sorry.
I'm not I'll buy the AT-AT, the big AT-AT.
You're like poker player. You're like, I'm all in. I'm getting the AT-AT. Wait, you have an AT-AT. I'm confused.
No, I have 3 of the regular size AT-ATs. I have 2 from 2014 or 15, and then I have whenever they came, and then I have the one that came out last year, one of those. But no, I'm talking about the big man pajama, the collector.
Yeah, but where's it gonna fit?
Yeah, but I'll probably just I have the Falcon, the big one there. I've left it in the box for 3-4 years now. So I'll just until I find a spot, I'll just keep it in the box. And who knows?
I was thinking about getting R2.
Yeah, R2 looks like a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Well, it's just because I sent you guys the link when they announced they were talking about the things that are coming out for May the 4th, and it's like. The new Ultimate Collector Series is Luke Skywalker's land speeder, and it's like, dude, really?
I don't want it. Yeah, it's
there's nothing intricate about it.
I think we talked about this in our chat, so we'll just share it for all of our listeners. But we were all very disappointed, and I think especially after, Chris and I coming off the heels of these really cool vehicles that we built out of Legos. Right. There's no bells or whistles. The hood doesn't flap up like the old Hasbro. Land Speeder did.
It's 1.5 feet long, though. It's huge.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it's just too big. Yeah, it's not. It's a bigger scale than the minifigs. So it's like, well, what's the purpose of it?
I don't know if I can for those folks who are watching live.
Well, Will Fry is chiming in. He says, I have like $950 of Star Wars in my Lego wish list. I will hit 170 for sure.
Yeah.
So, I am. I think the more recent ones that they came out with, I might end up getting one of those to hit that mark. If you don't make the mark and you don't get that exclusive thing, you can always just pay out the wazoo for it because somebody was going to post it on eBay for like 3 times this price. Do you have something to share?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I was just going to show the actual size of it. It's
a big man.
It's pretty significant. I mean, it's a pretty big display, but
and he's a big man too.
But it's $200, man. Like what?
Yeah, I know. And it's not like you can take parts off of it or put back on. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't levitate.
I look at like the
no
DeLorean.
lights.
The DeLorean's a good size. And what was it? $160?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's perfectly affordable. And you're like, yeah, that's cool.
And I think it's the right price for it.
Yeah.
But as I look at, lovingly against my wall, my display case thing for the Falcon is on its way. I should have it on Monday.
It's on its way.
I'm pretty excited about that.
I definitely love the creative, how creative Lego people are. Though I saw today somewhere, probably on Instagram, someone made a transparent stand for the new DeLorean. With the wheels underturned, so it actually looks like it's flying.
Sure.
And it's like that looks really cool.
So Wicked Brick, is that what it is? Wicked Brick.
How
about that? Yeah. The folks who made the stand that I ordered for the Falcon, they sent like a cryptic email message saying, keep your eyes peeled for a limited edition release, and it was, it's for Back to the Future. I think I forgot what the gimmick was, but they're making a case for it, which I'm assuming it's going to be a similar style in which you'll be able to mount it so it's like flying or whatever, but might have to get one of those too.
Like I said, the one that I like the most, like I said, they put the rubber on the wheels. They just left them as just the wheel, and then they put it on train tracks, and it had like a desert scene.
That's cool.
I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I think if I might do it that way if I do it.
And also for the May the 4th week, there's 2 different gifts. So I'm not sure if you spend $200, you get both gifts.
You should get
perhaps.
Both. Yeah, I would think you get both.
One of the Chicken Walker, which is pretty cool. So the ATST, that would be cool to have. I wouldn't mind having that, but I think that I kind of do want to have Baru with the blue milk.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta figure out a way to get that into my shelf.
Yeah, and the blue milk is, of course, now with this set, it's still rare. Like the only way you could get the blue milk carton, so far that I know of. Shit, I froze.
Oh, we lost Nick.
Okay,
oh,
sorry. The internets didn't want me to tell how you could get the blue milk carton. So as far as I know, the only way you can get the blue milk carton right now is if you get the deluxe version of the Star Wars Skywalker Saga game, because it comes with a Luke minifig with the blue mustache, and milk carton.
Yep, I have it digitally.
Oh, so you didn't get the fig though. See, that's the whole point of getting the hard copies, just to get the fig.
Yeah, I didn't buy the hard copy. I have the.
Yeah, so I'll show you
digital.
The first one.
Oh, here I'll put Nick up on screen for all of our live listeners that love the Lego.
So
that thing's awesome.
One of 3 that I've gotten so far, which is this is the trash compactor scene, and you just push in on the sides. Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
Cool.
That's great.
Mm.
And it's pretty cool. And on the back side, you have R2 and 3.
Oh,
rad.
That is so cool. I like that. That's nice.
That's
the one that I have in my cart ready to go for May the 4th.
Yeah. This one is by far the most fun to build of the 3. And it's easy too. It's not a difficult build. I liked that one. I saved that one for last. Or no, I did it second. This one is pretty cool.
This is the trench run, is
The
what
trench run.
Nick is showing us. And
Nice.
and do those move? Are they movable?
The only thing
at
that
all?
moves is the turret.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay. I thought they were kind of like movable, like you could.
No, yeah, but you could pick them up and move them, but but no. Yeah, the like I said, the trash compactor is the one that's the only one that's really cool, is in that it's interactive. And
Okay.
then the last one is the training of Luke on Dagobah.
That looked like a fun.
That looks like a pain in the ass to build.
Yeah, well, the thing that's a pain in the ass is the base, because you have so many like clear, transparent bricks, and you have to have layers underneath it to make it have color, like that you can see stuff underneath, and so that was a pain in the ass. And then inside you have like Yoda's bed, and then
and his little lightsaber.
Yeah, his
that's kinda
lightsaber.
cool.
Yeah, and the kettle that that Luke eats and says, and clearly is bad tasting food.
What the shit is this?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. It's a cooler version of this hunk of shit that I had.
Jeremy chimes in, joining us live. Awesome set. I am still looking for the best to try to get this year too. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I see. Oh yeah, cool.
You get the Jane Goodall set. So similar how they make the trees.
Yeah, I love
that one.
I love those trees, how they use that kind of seaweed almost upside down so it hangs down.
Not fun to build though. Like these are a pain in the ass to put together up here. And the same thing with the bonsai setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way trees look when you're done with them, but they're a pain in the ass to build. All it takes is just a little bit too much pressure on one of them, and
they all snap off.
Yeah, it's just
yeah. I built this very organic base for my bonsai. It's like a green hill, and I just used all of these random kind of shapes. And every time I move it, something falls off, and it's no big deal.
Yeah, Sherry.
I don't care.
Sherry sent me a link. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Very, very cool lighting options that you can do.
She is really trying to get us to light us.
Dude, she is all about the lighting, and I mean it's cool. The website's called lighttailing.com.
Wants us to spend more money. What the hell?
I know, right?
I know.
We need more patrons so we can have
my
more
problem is though, like I feel like there's different lighting kits for different setups. Like so they have some pretty cool light up setups for the DeLorean. And they got some for the throne room for Boba Fett's pretty cool as well. But my fear is I don't want to have to disassemble and rebuild.
Yeah, you will.
You do. Yeah, you do have to.
You know what I mean?
Because usually you run them between bricks and stuff like that. And there's usually an instruction set as you install the lights too.
Right.
My wife bought a couple light sets for our Christmas. She's kind of got some of the Christmas sets so that when it comes probably November 1st, she's going to be like, all right, let's set up our Christmas village.
But I did see this one, and it actually made me want to buy.
Chris is now showing us the light
Thor's
up set
hammer.
for the Thor's hammer.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool how they incorporate
what's the
it's
hell
just
made of? Yeah,
I'm assuming it's just like cotton, like some type of like cotton fabric with like the LEDs underneath it.
Yeah.
But I think that looks really fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I actually might buy Thor's hammer to do that. Because I actually didn't like. I don't like how Thor's hammer looks on its own. I think this makes it look really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, who knows? And then, of course, you get the lighting set for
the gauntlet,
the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And those are actually.
Very,
I
very
mean,
cool.
I would be worried because they're so cheap to get those lighting sets. Like, because the couple I've bought in the past, the wires are so thin that if you fuck up, like if you fuck up once, it just snaps, and then you're shut luck.
Yeah.
But you're right though about having to take it apart, because I know for like the modulars, a lot of the wiring they want you to put underneath and then go up into the building, and so you have to basically take off the base plate and then you put like a whole other section of bricks beneath the building with a bunch of space so you can run the wires underneath, and then you come up from the bottom. And it's a lot of money to buy the extra bricks, and then time just to take it apart and make sure it all works. But then once you're done, it's like it's kick ass, because there's so many I've seen. I'm like, that looks badass. But
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was throwing up Jeremy's comment here.
Yeah, but Falcon from a few years ago.
He says, I have the Falcon from a few years ago, but I heard that Star Wars Lego sets are pretty hard to get for May the 4th.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I suppose you have to wait until midnight.
Yeah, I would probably do it, on midnight on the 3rd.
Because I think we all did that with the DeLorean. We were all kind of like worried that it was gonna go.
Well, it sold out by the morning.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah, I think all of us had bought it.
And that's what I wonder about, because like you get on Lego.com right now, like everything's either back ordered or sold out. And it's like, well, how are you expecting people to hit that threshold to get those sets if you don't have anything in stock?
Right.
What a gimmick.
Well, they want you to buy other stuff.
Yeah, but the Star Wars things you have to buy
the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
You have to buy Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
To get
you have to buy $160 worth of Star Wars Legos to get the Star Wars set. That's the way. That's the way that May the 4th works. Yeah.
May the fork be with you. You guys got any special plans since we're talking about May the 4th? You guys got, it's going to be Wednesday this year. So No, none whatsoever.
I did find out that I'm actually off that day, so that's kind of cool.
Nice.
I am off that day as well. It's the first day I'll be done with teaching, and my kids are always excited about May the 4th. And I think last time I went to the Raleigh meetup, which was a couple of years ago, before the dark times, and I was there for May the 4th, and my kids really missed having me around. Like it's some special holiday that we have to celebrate, like Christmas. So yeah, other than maybe watching a show, and I assume there might be some, even if they're small things that might drop on Disney Plus on that day. So
yeah.
Speaking of Disney Plus, though, is Moon Knight good? That's what Chris is asking me with his avatar name.
I don't know. I
Did you watch the most recent one?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And it's
I like you watching it. Yeah, I mean, it's I think the rumor is that it's going to be done, like one and done.
I think it should be,
because
it's not great, dude. I mean, it's an interesting story, no doubt. Like it's an interesting story about mental illness, first of all.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
to me, doesn't it feel almost like a Mummy ripoff, though? Like
it's a complete Mummy ripoff, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, are we going to get through this? And is this movie going to be like not real? Like the jury's still out on that, right? So like we don't know if everything that we've seen, all the cool like fight scenes and just the connections that were made, we don't know if it's all chalked up to mental illness and not necessarily a true story in the Marvel universe. True story.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious too. Like, are they going to introduce? It seems to me, and I don't know, and in this I don't want to spoil anybody. So we've all watched.
If you want to remain spoiler free of Moon Knight, go ahead and fast forward just a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
we're gonna fucking talk about it.
And to clarify where we've seen up to Moon Knight, we've all seen up to episode 5, and next week will be episode 6, and that's the last one. So, there's a third one, right? There's a third personality.
No.
Oh, I thought there was.
I thought there was.
I don't think there is.
Okay, well, what about the What about that other casket?
I think that was our theory, but I don't think that happened, because there's no room for it, right? Because if you think about it, like in this most recent episode, the reason why Mark is saved is because the two arms of the scales evened out.
Right.
And that was representative of the two personalities, one of Mark and one of the personality that he kind of created to deal with the mourning of his brother and his see you next Tuesday of a mother.
Yeah, a bit of an abusive moment there, and a very emotional moment that I had to kind of tell my kids, like, hey, this is how some split personalities occur.
Right.
It's through extreme childhood trauma, like what we're seeing
Meowsers.
here. So, I felt like it was true.
Did you say like meowsers?
Yeah.
No. But I felt like it rings true to, like, I don't know, yeah, like what you said, mental illness or those extreme kind of cases.
Schizophrenia or
schizophrenia.
So like the jury's
they
out though. Like is this all in his head?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he in a hospital in Chicago? Or is that outside forces of like what's his name? Ethan Hawke's character playing a trick on it. We don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean, I feel like we've been kind of led to believe that there's other tie-ins to this story for other Marvel Universe characters, which we haven't seen yet. But I don't know. Like I'm not convinced, and like I don't think it's great. I just don't. I'm and I feel badly about that. But I'm having some serious Lost flashbacks, right? Because of was it Tower Ret? Wasn't that holding the Ankh,
right?
The statue holding the Ankh. It was just kind of cool, but like I don't know. I'm gonna watch it, right? And I'm hoping that if episode 6 is the last of the series, right?
Yeah.
It's only a 6-episode
It's supposed to be really long too. Episode 6.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Okay.
So I mean, I hope that it's, Jeremy says in the chat, Moon Knight feels like one of the first TV series that should have been a movie instead.
Yeah, that's what we said last week.
Yeah. I agree with both you and Nick on that. I think that's true. I hope this next episode does something that really special to make this show really kind of tie in, because
like introduce the third personality.
Well, that's
there was a moment. There was a moment, right, Nick, where like another person came through and it was a different voice, and I was like, "Wait a second, what's that?"
Yeah, and I forget what episode that was, but that's what you thought.
No, it was in this last episode when he was in the room there with the doctor guy, Dr. Harrow.
Okay.
And he is doing he's doing Mark's voice, and then all of a sudden this other voice comes through, and it's not Steven. And then that's when I was like, oh, are we gonna get this third personality? Yeah. And in the trailer, or not in the trailer, but in the end credits, you see 3 different faces of Oscar Isaac's character. Like in the little graphics and the cool graphics.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I mean, that would be kind of cool. I mean, they would literally throw away the magic of this episode. If that was true.
Jeremy says Matt is the third personality.
Nice. Like if that's true, and this
if it's
is Dr.
true,
Harrow's,
I mean, I could be completely
like perhaps then Dr. Harrow is kind of like pulling the wool over his eyes and created this entire last episode to fool him. Maybe that's the case, but then that just removes all the magic.
I know.
Yeah, I was fully expecting for both of them to run into one of the rooms in the psych ward, and then see the third person, and both of them be like, "Who are you?" Because he could have been like conjure.
They already did that in Spider-Man, though.
But they had the casket. There was the casket that was rattling around in the psych ward. When they were going through rooms, and they saw one in there, and then they didn't go. So, I like the story device though of them going through the different rooms and visiting the past. It was very being John Malkovich. So it reminded me of that. So
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, but like that sequence of going through someone's past memories and opening doors and going into different.
That was one of the at the very end of Game of Thrones season 2, not the show, but the book, the second book, is that in the show, Dany kind of like just sees visions, and she sees the chair and the snow coming and all this. But in the actual book, that's what happens, is that she's walking through this hallway, looking in these rooms of the past, the present, and the future. And I can see why the show did not show it, because it actually showed like someone with a wolf head, and so too many people would have figured out what was going to happen. If it would have, like, oh my God, that's a Stark with a wolf head. Like, what's that mean? And then like that's Robb Stark, eventually.
Right.
And there's a lot of cool, and you kind of disappointed that the House of the Undying, that's where it was. Anyway, but another kind of way that they use that same kind of montage. Here's my Nick.
Yeah, so like the whole speaking of memories, I can move on a little bit here. I finished the final days of Ptolemy Gray. That is a really great show,
isn't it?
And if you haven't seen it yet, take Nick's recommendation like I did and watch.
Apple TV.
I don't know.
Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. Guaranteed Emmy nomination for Samuel Jackson.
I guess I'll watch it.
Like, no doubt. Like, it was incredible. Like, that was such a good show. And the ending was very satisfying. I enjoyed it immensely. But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson was absolutely amazing in this series. Like, it was to see him go from a range, such a range, right? I mean, you had like him acting as like a 20-something, a 30-something, and you have him acting like a senile old man who has no memories, and then that same old man getting his memories back, and then you see him slowly degrade back to where he was, but you also see that shimmer of like just absolute brilliance of his character, like smart man.
And it's just like even his facial acting is on point, because like the scene, Chris, that that you texted me about that got you, like really early in the show, when he starts to enter that room, his eyes that he gives to the person who's showing him the room of like this wide-eyed, almost childlike innocence of what's going on in here. Like he's almost fearful to go in there. And then once it hits him in his, dissolved brain, or what do you want to call it, but just dementia, that scene rips your heart out. It's just so intense.
And trigger warning, right? For anyone who's dealing with any family members or has dealt with family members who have any form of dementia, it's hard. To deal with and process. Like I mentioned before, I'm kind of going through that with my mom right now, and it's hard. It definitely hit me probably harder than it normally would have, just knowing to do what we're going through. But like just seeing it put on the screen and acted out, like wow, like it was like a perfect like representation of what that's really like, for some people. But man, it's if he doesn't win the award, I mean, I don't know who will, because it was that good. I mean,
the one thing that will pretty much guarantee he does get it is because that'll be Emmy for best limited series, So, and those are usually pretty, not many come out in a year's time. So it's like his odds to win are pretty good, I'd say.
Shit, he's going to be up against like Ewan McGregor for Obi-Wan.
and fucking what's his name? Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac. Yeah, from Moon Knight. I want to address Will's question here. Will asks, I just finished Ted Lasso, and now I'm watching For All Mankind. After I'm done with that, should I start Ptolemy Gray or Severance? I would say watch Ptolemy Gray because it's just a one and done season. Whereas once you finish Severance, you can be like, "Fuck, I want to watch. I want to keep watching."
That's true. Yeah, because once you do get done with Severance, you're gonna want more.
Yeah.
So hold that itch off as long as you can, because it is a great show. But boy, at the end you're gonna want
all four of those. What you're talking about, Will, Ted Lasso, For All Mankind, Ptolemy Gray, and Severance. All of those like 9 or 10 out of 10s, like 9 to 10 out of 10s. They're all
absolutely outstanding shows.
Just outstanding shows. Yeah, and all on Apple. No, all on Apple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now for a commercial break from Apple. Did you hear that Nick's dad invested in Apple back in 2004? And maybe, just maybe, Nick and Chris are just really balls deep into Apple stock, and they're just like talking about these Apple shows just to get the stock up, you know. So I'm hypothetical, you know. I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, you know.
Well, we
me.
didn't invest in Netflix.
Now, speaking of of investing, I like how you did that. So a couple weeks back, you know, I had, you know, the whole thing with Twitter and Elon Musk.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw $10 on Twitter and just see what happens, you know, because Twitter
Sure,
stock
you're
was
gonna-
pretty.
yeah.
Twitter stock was kind of low, and then it just kept. It just never got above that $10 I put in, and then all of a sudden it shot up, and I was like, okay, now I've got $10.25. I better
Right.
sell.
The fee to sell it would cost you.
Seriously.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna sell it.
How do you guys feel about Elon taking over Twitter?
I don't know.
We'll say I'm all for.
I want Tesla stocks to go back up. I don't give a shit about Twitter stocks.
I heard a good joke today. Like, what if he renames Twitter MySpace X?
That's funny.
I would actually love it.
I love the joke Elon Musk tweet about like, I'm gonna shut this down. Like as soon as I own it, I'm just shutting it down. like how baller that would be.
I would also love that.
Yeah. You know, just like, and now hell is gone.
I don't even really use Twitter anymore, to be honest with you.
No, I don't either.
I just want Jack. I want Jack to be happy. That's really what it is.
This thought crossed my mind. Go ahead, Chris. I'll let you finish your thought.
I was just gonna say though, I can't help but feel some danger ahead. I mean, I think the pendulum's gonna. Right now, I would say that the pendulum has swung to the left a little bit when it comes to Twitter's like governance of its users, and I fear a far sweeping right pendulum, like further than it's ever been, just because of the temperature of the situation, and that scares me a bit.
But they're not going to completely do away with like people that are threatening other people to die. Like those people, the Twitter users that go out there and they say, you should fucking die, right?
Yeah.
Like kill yourself, right? Like Jack with his like go kill yourself tweets, you know.
I just hope I'm all for free speech. So I'm all for free speech. Don't get me wrong about that. I'm all for free speech, but I think there's also a line that should be drawn somewhere with free speech versus misinformation, and that's my.
No, that's fair. I mean, we are in an information war right now.
But what is mis or disinformation? Like, you know, that's the whole point of free speech. You either have to love your freedoms or you don't. And you can't just say like, oh, I agree with it, but no, you have to be all in or not, because you're an adult. We're all adults. And if someone gets on Twitter and says, I'm a flat earther, the earth is flat, it's always been flat, you can't just say, like, oh, I label it misinformation and now you're blocked. You're like, no, you're an adult. You should be able to go like, hey, I don't agree with that. And then just move the fuck on, because that's what it is. And yes, there can be more extremes and dangerous ways of saying stuff
stop
like that.
The steal and stuff like that like they knew that it was, you know.
But there's how many things though were labeled mis or disinformation when COVID started and have been totally proved right, you know, and
like what? Like I'm curious as to what is proved right from misinformation on Twitter about like the health things, because with COVID, I mean, a lot of things we were figuring out on the fly. You know,
we were.
So some things would have been changed.
Yeah, and things naturally change though. But there's nothing wrong with like just posing an opinion or posing a question. You know, if you say like, hey, maybe the virus did actually occur from a lab in China because it came from the city where there's a fucking experimental lab. But no, you can't say that. You know, you're blocked if you say that. And then, yeah, they still haven't proved it, but pretty much everyone knows it did. You know, and it's just things like that.
I think they proved that it was not leaked from a lab, though. That was the conclusive thing, that it was not from a lab, that they said it was wet market.
Okay, but I mean, if you want to, but the same, but like I've never seen, you know, how many things have never been, you know, proven or shown. Like, you know, we were never shown, you know, evidence of, you know, what's in the vaccine or or its side effects or anything else. They were just like, oh, just take it and shut up. And so I didn't hate on people who didn't want to take it. I always encourage people to take it.
I mean, I saw like clear like breakdowns as far as like how the vaccine works.
No, I knew how it worked. I knew how it worked, but I'm just saying, but like there was just a lot of suppressed, in my opinion, suppressed information. To me, it's like, if you want people to really take something that's going to be beneficial, then you need to just say like, hey, this is what it is. This is what it does. This is, but
even giving the facts, and I'll just play devil's advocate here, even giving the facts to people don't take those.
True.
So separating out what is truth and what is not true, when people are spreading stuff and they're saying, hey, this is true, this is what happened, give me money because we're gonna fight this thing, like I'm with you. Hey, like that guy that took all of that money to get Trump's wall built, right? This was a couple of years ago, right? And it was a complete sham. It was a complete fraud, and he was just taking people's monies left and right just to, I mean, stuff like that. Yeah, it's like the Wild West, and people like that shouldn't be allowed to just grift, right? I mean, go out on the corner, right? Like stand by the interstate. Don't grift on Twitter.
I don't know.
I mean, there has to be some parameters, or there's no parameters. But and before I forget this thought, I'm wondering, where's social media 10 years from now? I'm not saying it's rock and roll and it's going to die, right? But it could be MTV. Like,
you don't know.
I do kind of wonder about the longevity of social media as people are kind of like, yeah.
That was so 10 years ago.
Kind of. I mean, like there's kids that are just like, they're not on Facebook. They're never going to be on Facebook because the Facebook is like their parents. That's like,
do you guys watch The Daily Show at all?
No.
Trevor Noah.
I haven't watched it since Jon Stewart left. Yeah.
So he actually did he did actually a really interesting take on this. And I'm just going to play a clip from the show. I'll show a video.
Can you though? Copyright? I don't know.
Yeah. Why not?
You're gonna get this whole episode pulled.
Okay.
Answer to the board, and the board still has to answer
Hold
to
on.
shareholders and Twitter.
Oh.
So here's the thing: look, whether you are for Elon Musk or against him, you've got to admit it is pretty crazy that one man is now in control of all of that. Because before this, Jack Dorsey didn't own Twitter. A lot of people think he did. No, he had 2% of the shares. And even as CEO, he still had to answer to the board. And the board still had to answer to the shareholders. And Twitter itself still had to answer to the SEC. But now as a private company, it's just Elon Musk. Yeah, everything that happens on Twitter from now on is up to him. And also whatever strain his weed guy gives him that day. I'm just saying, if he gets the wrong sativa, there could be a race war, people. Prepare yourselves. Like, this is the thing, whether it's a billionaire you like or a billionaire you hate, as a society, I think we should spend more time interrogating how easy it is for billionaires to shape our world in their favor. Just think about it.
Yeah,
you like
that's
it
a
now,
fair
you don't
point.
like it now. But should they be able to do it? I don't know.
I mean, I agree that like it is a dangerous that billionaires own a lot, but it's been that way for years. Like no one objected when Bezos bought, the Washington Post, or how many other billionaires own everything else. It's like, and they can do what they want, and they can, and I agree that, Elon could, he could be completely hypocritical. And, instead of saying like, I want this to be a public square where everyone can just yell as much as they want. That's what Twitter is. But he could just say, you know what? Fuck it. I don't like you. I'm going to ban everyone from Boston, or whatever. Like, yeah, because it's his company.
He answers to nobody because it's private. They don't have to report to the SEC.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Stocks have not fared well ever since the Twitter Twitter purchase.
Matt.
What's up?
Put us back where we can see each other.
Yeah, I'm like exposed here.
No, I like it on Chris.
Oh.
He paid for this podcast. He deserves to have his. I was thinking about the patrons, though.
I just feel like you're on fire behind you, Matt, but you're not. It's like green. I know it's green, but I feel like you're on fire. Like it's like flames on the side of my face.
I can talk about my backdrop here in a second, but I just wanted to say, like, I did just want to say about our patrons, and I've thought this for a while now, is that I just want to say thank you to the patrons for giving me psychological and emotional support through the pandemic, because I swear to God, like us four getting together every week and just talking is like, it's a therapy session sometimes.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
always,
absolutely.
not always, but sometimes it is for us, and it's definitely been one of those things that has been an unsung hero in my life. And so I was
Hell yeah.
thinking about that, and so thank you, patrons, for making this possible and keeping us you know, podcasting, really. So
Are you Mott the Hoople? I just now noticed your name.
Nice, dude.
Oh,
Mott the Hoop.
Mott.
Okay.
So my background is a painting that was stolen from me.
Oh, okay.
It's about 2004 it was stolen. It's a very large painting.
Oh.
It's about 5 foot by 6 foot square, and it's kind of a family reunion.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
And this guy with this guy that's like, it's kind of like exploding from his head, like he's been shot by pollen. It's called Shot by Pollen.
Is this just like a photograph that you took of it or a scan?
Yeah, I have an image of the painting before it was stolen, but it was hanging outside my.
Just think like in 120 years, it'll be like up in some museum, and it'll be like whatever you call it.
I doubt it.
It'll be like unknown.
Somebody probably
Elon Musk owns it.
Elon Musk owns it. Yeah.
It's an NFT.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a very large painting, and I was living. I had my studio on the second floor of this arts building, and someone came through over the weekend, and they couldn't get it down the stairs because it's so big. They couldn't figure out how to get it out. I had used the service elevator to get it up and down because it is large. So they didn't know what to do. So they ended up ripping it off the stretcher bars. And so I found the stretcher bars, like the body. And then I knew. At first, when it was gone, I thought one of my artist friends was like fucking with me, like playing a prank or something. And then I found the stretcher bars, and I was.
Was it just yours that was stolen, or were many? Or
at that time, there was a couple different kind of art crimes that were going on around the area, and I did report it to the police. So if it ever were to return, or show up somewhere, I have physical evidence, and it's been filed, so I would basically be able to claim it. But anyway, there were 5 paintings shortly after my mom passed away. I was kind of in a I was very depressed, and I had gotten a studio, and with some yeah, I was very blue. I got a studio with some of the money that was kind of left to me, and there wasn't a lot because it was basically there was like an insurance policy essentially that I got a little bit of money, and with that money I decided to open up a gallery / art studio for myself, and it was a total, like, when you're 25 and you've got nothing in front of you, you just...
Man, that was like 45, 50 years ago.
It feels like it. Mm-hmm. For sure. Especially like just some of the shit that I went through. But anyway, I'll show you the full painting here. I was trying to pull it up while I talked and told this story here.
While you're doing that, John asked a question and said, did we ever find out what happened to those famous blue jeans after they ended up? Yes. Matt took what remained of them and put them in a cast, and so like now they're like a
no, they're not
mold of the jeans.
No,
yeah, they're ripped. That's actually quite nice.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a large painting. It's a photo. The original image is a photo that my grandfather
I can see why someone ripped it off.
Yeah.
And
so was this was all painting? You didn't use like a photograph of this moment to kind of like.
No, I do have a source imagery, and the source imagery was from my grandfather. He had taken this at a family reunion back in the 60s, and so this is kind of you can kind of see a little bit of like this guy's like wearing those kind of old school socks.
Oh
with
yeah,
the blue. So that was one of the paintings. I did a series of 5 large paintings during that period of time.
Very Warhol of you.
And they're all the same size.
How big were they?
5 foot tall by 6 foot long. They're actually my height by the size of somebody else. And
now, are any of these? Are you in any of these images, or are they?
I am in this one actually. This is of an orange juice aisle at a Walmart, and this is me kind of below it, and this is a couch. And I sold this one. This is in California somewhere. So I shipped it off. So I've sold most of these. There's one more that was a real strong one from that period, which is called Tilling Soil. And this painting was a painting that was kind of, and all 5 of these were hanging, and this one, a friend of mine had came to visit me at the studio, and she said, "Oh, this looks like a funeral." And then it was kind of like, oh yeah, that's what I'm going through. It's like sometimes you're just making stuff and you don't realize what you're doing, and she was cremated, and this was supposed to be a tornado. And this series of photos of people below were just kind of a collage of people that I knew. And so it was at a party that I had been to. And so I just, I collage images sometimes. Like I see things and then I piece them together, and then I'll paint them. So, each of these paintings they kind of have a color theme. So like this one's green. It's kind of hard to see. It's very dark. It's very hard to photograph dark.
See it just fine. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. And that one actually is of my aunt when she was little. And there's some figures kind of off to the right there. And the top part is this like nightscape kind of thing with lights off in the distance. So, and has to do with time travel and theories about time travel. So, and then I'll show you the last one just to complete the circuit here of five paintings for everybody that's visiting and seeing this live. But this is a painting of my sister at the time. She was 12 when our mom died. So she's my half sister. And this is just kind of her looking to the sun, like.
Oh, okay.
So
it looks like a wing. The blue part looks like a wing of a plane.
It is.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And then the sun
I did my job.
in the distance. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's like
on the horizon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I always used to fly out to Washington to visit my family, and so losing my mom definitely, like, it was, I wasn't going out to visit my stepdad, I'll tell you that much. And my sister, I still visit with her. She comes out, but anyway, that series though, 2002, I painted those in a series of probably three months time. So
you're just a youngin'.
I was very young at that time. So I ran that.
They're actually very
gallery.
nice paintings, Matt.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
It was a very busy time. I did the gallery studio thing for a couple years, and then I kind of burned myself out on doing the gallery thing. It's like, hey, come see a show. Hey, let's do this. It was like every month kind of building up that, like, energy. So anyway, sorry, side topic there.
No.
But I've thought about my mom because it's been 20 years, and it's just time has a way of moving beyond you, and and as Chris knows about losing his parent, it's like there's the time before and then there's the time after. It's like there's no, it's like there was this and then there wasn't this, and it's a weird thing. So I hope your parents live forever, Nick.
Yeah, dad will be 70 in May, and mom will be 69 in December. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the girl.
There we go. Bringing it back to After Dark. So your mom's gonna be 69.
Let's bring it back into this shittiness. All right.
As I'm talking about my
Nick
mom,
is
who's
just
passed.
so fucking mad right now.
No, not at all. There's not an image in my head right now.
Of him fucking holding a knife to our heads.
Oh my gosh. I just had to lighten it up there, but
It's good.
anyway.
I was trying to think of anything like aside from Legos. That's kind of all I've done. I went and saw my first NBA game on Sunday ever.
Oh, really? Your first? You've never watched a game ever?
I mean, on TV. I mean, in person. But like I've seen lots of Major League Baseball. I've seen NFL. I just never gone to see it. But there's not really, aside from the Grizzlies, which weren't really in Memphis when I was growing up. And I was in Knoxville when they actually came to Memphis. And I was like, well, I'm not driving to Memphis all the way across the state to see a basketball game. But like a friend of mine had an extra ticket to Game 4 of the Golden State Warriors versus the Nuggets, and it was the one game the Nuggets won. But it was a good game, and it's shocking because I don't really watch NBA, but to see like the Nuggets' best player be a gigantic guy from Serbia, I'm like, what are the fucking odds of that? You know? But your man's a beast.
And then did you see the clips of was the Timberwolves game? I think it was a Timberwolves game where there was a couple of protesters who sat like second or third row from the court because apparently I think it's the owner of the Timberwolves actually has a chicken farm that's been known for not being humanitarian or not humanitarian. What's the word I'm looking for?
Animalitarian?
Humane.
Oh, okay.
Humane is the word I'm looking for. Inhumane. But you could tell, and I think it wasn't the first protest they've had, you could tell that security was nearby. And judging on how quickly this security guard just tackled this girl, they had to have been watching her. Like they had to have known that she was a suspect.
Yeah.
So this girl, like middle of a game, like jumps up out of her seat and goes to run onto the court. And a security guard comes out of nowhere and like tackles her 3 feet into the game and escorts her out. And then the person who was sitting next to her was filming it. That's where there's two angles, the broadcast, and then of course the footage from the camera of the person who's sitting next to her has been released too. But she got laid out real quick.
Yeah, can't protest any sports anymore. Jeez, what's the world coming to? I mean, right? It's like, I just want to protest against these.
John, retired guy, says we can only get humane chicken eggs here in California.
What was his name?
Human or humane?
Humane.
Oh, okay. That E is really important. So
I always think of Portlandia, like, can you tell us about the chicken? His name was Phil. He grew up a few miles down the road, in a free-range chicken farm.
I know what scene you're talking about when they're in the restaurant.
Then
they go to the restaurant. Don't they go to the restaurant?
No, they're in the restaurant when they ask about it. Like, can you? Because like they're looking at the menu. Can you tell us about the chicken? And the waitress goes like, "Oh, its name was Phil." And
but don't they go to? Don't they?
They go to the farm.
They go to the farm. Then yeah. Mm-hmm. It reminds me. Have you watched any of the documentary now? With Bill Hader and he's also on that Portlandia. God, why can't I think of his name now? Fred Armisen.
Oh yeah,
Fred Armisen and Bill Hader. I think it's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons of documentary now. If you haven't seen it, really worth watching that show. Each episode is basically its own spoof on a documentary show program of any kind of type. And some of them are actually kind of heartfelt. You're like, why am I caring about this? This isn't real, but in a very Fred Armisen and Bill Hader way, they kind of pull you into their world. And they have a lot of guest stars, cameos, and what have you. If you haven't checked out documentary now, it's worth a watch. So, I mean, it's not on Apple like these guys.
Speaking of Bill Hader, did you watch Barry season 3, episode 1 yet?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm excited. It was. So, do we want to do spoilers about that or no? No, don't talk.
I don't think
spoilers.
Chris watched it, so
we won't do spoilers on Barry.
I did like the opening because I was gonna do the same thing if I had been in his situation with the guy and he's like, cut his eyelids off because I want him to suffer, and then you just come like, I changed my mind. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's what you got. What you deserved.
Yeah, it's I liked it. I actually binged Barry seasons 1 and 2 kind of in prep for season 3. Just I don't know. I've been doing
3
it.
years. Yeah.
It's been a while, and I think also too, like, sometimes I like to, I mean, I'm an artist, so I like to draw and I like to work on or paint, and I like to listen to TV shows, and so there's this real weird kind of thing where like there's certain shows that I want to sit down and just enjoy and indulge in, Other shows it's like, I could care less about. So I started watching The Flight Attendant.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight would be a good one.
I didn't make it past the first episode of Flight Attendant.
I don't blame you. And it was the perfect show to put on in the background as I did my work. No offense to anybody that liked Flight Attendant. I didn't quite like it. Now, I did like the spin and where season 2 began with the Flight Attendant. So I'm actually kind of curious as to like the next season. But there was just certain things about the characters that I just never quite connected with the first season. And maybe it's because I just listened to it, but anyway.
What show is it? Shit.
We continued the my daughter's Marvel watch.
Oh yeah.
So
what are we at on that?
So she's seen Iron Man 1. We skipped Incredible Hulk.
Right.
Seen Iron Man 2, and tonight, right before we started the show, we finished watching Thor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She loved Thor.
I liked Thor.
And I'll tell you, it's been what, 14 shit. How long has it been? 12 years? 11 years since Thor came out? That's a great movie. It's actually a really good movie.
There's some really good moments in that movie. So
it's got the guy from what's the show we hate watch?
Manifest?
Manifest. The lead guy from Manifest is Fandral in the first Thor movie. Before he was recast to his name?
That's right.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
For the remainder of them, but yeah, man, I actually really enjoyed it, and she's gotten like the whole, I gotta watch the credit scene now, and it's like, well, now you can fast forward it, which is great.
Oh yeah, they have the skip option at the bottom.
Well, no, just like you're sitting in a theater, you have to sit there and wait for it. But you can just hit fast forward.
Some of those Marvel things on Disney Plus, though, they'll have the little skip thing too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it'll skip the credits that you don't want it, so you can just watch the
nice.
clip. Yeah,
I didn't give it a chance to do that, but
you were just like, "Fuck this, let's get to
go."
it." Yeah,
but I'm so excited that I'm about to watch Captain America with my daughter, and I'm fucking super pumped about that because that came out in 2011 as well. I believe. Yeah. So
how is this asshole only seen one Marvel movie? Like
crazy.
He's like the Jack of the group now.
That's actually pretty crazy. But what's interesting though is that I saw Captain America with Nick. I think you were there. San Diego.
Maybe. Wow.
First Avenger. We went to the movie theater, like the outdoor, like in a shopping mall outdoors. Anyways, I went.
Okay.
With a bunch of us. And
I'm sure I went.
Like 2 days later, I came home and I found out that my wife was pregnant.
Oh,
with
wow.
my daughter. And I'm watching that movie with her next
That's so crazy.
And I'm like, whoa, weird.
That's cool.
Wait, I'm gone for a week and you're pregnant? What the
hell? But
what did you do? Severance yourself?
Who was the father?
But it's just wild to think that, like, I remember coming home from that trip and then finding out that I was gonna have a daughter, and now I'm watching that movie with my daughter. Weird.
Do you ever take your daughter back to the place where you conceived her? You're like, this is where your mom and I made you. This is where I put my seed into your mom.
Nope. That's weird, man. But do you guys celebrate like your conception date too? Do you do that?
No. Like, okay. All right. Just checking. I don't.
Fucking weird, man.
I don't do that. I just was wondering if you did. So I was asking for Jack.
So my brother, my son just turned 3 this past weekend. That was one of the big things we did this past weekend. So we had a birthday party.
Because he's end of April, right?
Yeah, 24th.
24th. So, that's right. Because because my son's the 23rd.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
he's technically, so he's 3, but he's technically 7.
Oh right, yeah, Frozen.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I was trying to explain it to my daughter, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, never mind. Well, we'll tell you that story again when you get a little bit older.
That's the same as like my oldest friend. They got married later, and then he had some complications. So the same thing, like they went ahead and fertilized, I think, like 10 eggs. Only one of them was a boy. The rest of them were all girls. And and so they did the boy first because it was the only one, so be safe. Like, okay, we'll do the one, and then they kept the rest. And then like 3 years later, like, okay, we'll get one of the girls out, and it's like, but they're all from the same batch. So like Chris says, like, they're all basically the same age, but it's just,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
He's like secretly like into like stuff that's 3 years before his time.
The crazy part about it too is we had, I think we had 18 embryos.
Wow.
18.
Because of Peyton Manning.
You could have had 18 kids, Chris. You actually,
Could've.
yeah. You could have been that guy. You could have been
Yeah.
that guy. Like, everyone
18
points at you down the
and
street,
counting.
like, yeah, it could have been a whole podcast. Just,
So weird.
Chris
We
has
decided
18
to have
kids,
all 18 at once.
So
And we're
Irish
doing a
people.
TV show. Honey, this is a great idea. Okay, I know it sounds like I'm going to keep my job at Apple. You're going to stay home, raise all 18, and we're going to have a reality TV show filming you. Okay. But I'm still going to keep my job at Apple.
18 just out of Boston, just outside of Boston.
They'll all be in the employee. They'll all be the employees. It's just.
I think you have to make it Brady's number. I think you just got to take it down to 12. So,
Fuck him.
Too soon. We were watching Modern Family. My family's been on a Modern Family rewatch, or not rewatch. We're watching it with our kids. Just kind of awkward at times because they do. You're like, I haven't really had this talk with my son about masturbation. Keep making these fucking masturbation jokes. You're really forcing my hand.
Did you actually get that talk from your dad? Because I know I didn't.
No, but
Nope. I never.
I feel like I need to like prep him for.
He's probably already figured it out. Maybe.
He probably.
Dad, what do you mean I can't walk around with an erection?
I don't know. I mean, like, okay, Chris, are you planning on having that talk with your son?
My son's 3, dude. He's fucking 3. He doesn't even know how to make a boner yet.
Dude, he's 7. He's like halfway there, man.
John, the retired guy, writes a comment. I'm going to take a different take on it, though. Because I would like to see that headline of like father and his 18-year-old children beat up all patrons at the Patriots game.
I fucking hate you guys.
Tirade.
Well, we did hit our mark here. I know, Chris, you wanted to keep it a shorter show. Nick was like, "Can we have a long 2-hour show? We need to keep the momentum going, guys." And I was like, "Oh yeah, but Chris has got that early morning thing, Apple."
Dude, every time you fucking throw me under the bus. Every fucking time you throw me under the bus.
We're just happy you showed up, Chris. Really.
I know. I thought this Owen and Bruce was just going to be a bus, like what were we going to talk about for an hour, like
bunch of
the new Padme movie, or book.
Have you guys seen that picture of her? Like, I haven't seen it until recently of like,
wait, what?
Of Natalie Portman, because she had to put on some muscle for this new Thor role. And there's a picture of her like probably grocery shopping or somewhere, and it's probably just the way she has her arms on the cart, but it looks like she's just like, "Come at me, bro!" Oh, it's like she could be She-Hulk, and you're like, "Gosh, she really did like buff up for the role." Because she's always been so petite, so to see someone who's 5'2", probably 90 pounds or 100 pounds to just have fucking gun show,
Yeah, that would be. I mean, my only fear is like, don't Linda Carter my Padme Amidala. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't have that happen to So I don't know. I mean, she's just always been a crush.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean,
she's gorgeous. I mean,
yeah.
The first movie I ever saw her in was Beautiful Girls when because she's a few months younger than me, and so we were both like 15 or 16 at the time. And I remember going, God, who is that? And then the next one was Where the Heart Is, the 99. And then, of course, then she, Phantom Menace came out, and you're like, oh, wow. And then, of course, I went back later on and watched The Professional. I was like, man, it's such a great movie. Oh, that was another thing. I speaking of shows that you kind of like want to be good, but you can kind of ignore. Slow Horses, which is on, I think it's on Apple or HBO maybe, or is it Apple? Is it Apple? Yeah.
Horses.
Slow Horses. Did I break up? No.
Sorry, I was just trying to.
Slow Horses. It has the potential to be a really good show, but it's a little slow. It's basically about why am I forgetting his name? The guy that is the bad guy in The Professional. How can I forget that actor's name? He's like one of the greatest actors ever.
Sirius Black.
Sirius Black. Yeah.
Sirius Black. He's Sirius Black.
Fucking Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Yeah, Gary Oldman. Yeah, so basically it's MI5, and he runs like the people have royally fucked up in MI5, and it's kind of like this. So far, it's just about this one kind of recruit, and it's kind of hard to explain what the show's about, but you're just kind of like, okay. And then the girl from Ready Player One is also in it, Chris.
Oh, nice.
That was the main girl. So I mean, it's got a good cast of actors. It's just, to me, it's just kind of like I wish the reveal would be quicker, or they would kind of get on with actual stuff. But this last episode was a nice twist on some things. So I was like, oh, so it might take an actual finally kick into where you're like, okay, now it's getting good.
Interesting.
Miami Mike says that we should watch Russian Doll,
but not the same Will Smith we're thinking of.
Yeah, I know, that's what I thought too. Yeah,
it's like, well, that's interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah. So Mike says we should watch Russian Dolls. Or we should catch up on that. Have you guys seen Russian Dolls?
Jack recommended it to me when it first came out because Jack really liked it, and I couldn't get over the whole Groundhog Day aspect of it. Because that's what it's about, is that at least the first few episodes is that she's dead and she keeps, or she, I don't know if she's dead, but she keeps reliving the same day over and over again, and so I mean I watched I think the first 2 or 3 episodes and then I just never went back to it, and I really should because I know it is a good series. I just never got back around to it.
I'm still like pro Ukraine, so I'm not gonna watch it yet. So. I did watch Schmigadoon on Apple TV since we're promoting the old fruit cart tonight. If you guys haven't seen that, it's a musical produced by Lauren Michaels. So it's got Cecily Strong in it, Keegan Michael Key. It's kind of an unusual show, so it might not be for everyone. But been watching that, so that's been my fall asleep to show. I don't know how, because it's like bright and colorful and it's got musical songs, but I like the spin on it. If you are a fan of Mike Myers, he was recently on the Dana Carvey and David Spade Fly on the Wall podcast this week, so that's a good one to tune into. Hearing Dana Carvey and Mike Myers talk about the Beatles, like what could be better. So it's some pretty interesting things about Mike Myers, and even I'm sure
we got some interesting impersonations on that one.
And Dana does a lot of stuff, but on that one they didn't. There's a couple that they throw in at the beginning, but really they're just kind of talking Mike's ear off, or at least Dana is. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that if for any fans out there of SNL, hearing those two talk, and knowing that they're really friends, like they're we think of these people as being, comedy gods, but it's kind of interesting to think of like, oh, they're texting each other just like we do.
Well, that's especially as I've gotten older. And I think also living in Los Angeles and meeting the, not A-list celebrities, but the few that I did, that when you're a kid and if I was 10 years old and I saw Chris Hemsworth, you're like, oh my God, you're Thor, and you think of them almost as a god because they, but they're our age, and it's kind of like when I met Evangeline Lilly, when I saw her in the hotel lobby, I just went and talked to her like a person because it's like, I wasn't intimidated by her. Just like she's the same age as us. So I was like, well, to me, it's just like talking to a friend. And that's kind of how I felt in LA too. It's like, they're just regular people and they're just doing their job. It's only like when they get to that, like that, Tom Cruise level to where like they have so much money and so much attention on them that like, you kind of like, fuck, I bet that guy's an asshole, because it's like, they just don't want to deal with anybody. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to deal with it either when you're that famous, but which is kind of what you're saying though. Like, yeah, they're just Dana Carvey and Mike Myers are probably just like everybody else. They're just like, hey, like this.
Yeah, they're just like everybody else. It just so happens that Mike Myers got the last written letter from George Harrison. No big deal.
Who did? Mike Myers?
Yeah,
cool.
He talks about it on that podcast. It's pretty cool. So, spoilers for the podcast. I don't feel like I spoiled anything. Just tantalized you to want to know more. So,
yeah. Did you ever? Do you know the story? Ringo talks about it, like the last thing that George ever said to Ringo, because Ringo, I forget who it was, somebody in Ringo's family was also not very ill. Oh, maybe it was his son or something like that, like had to have like an operation or something. But Ringo lives in in America, and George was over in London, and Ringo saw George the last time about a week before he died, and they knew that he was not going to live too much longer, and Ringo basically said to him like well, I gotta go. My son's having an operation or whatnot, and George, being very George, was like, do you want me to come? And Ringo says that's, he goes, yes, it's very George, like to be thinking of someone else, but it's also something that kills him because it's like George knew, that he couldn't physically go anywhere, but it was still like, it's just the thought of like, do you want me to come? It's like, he goes, it's the last thing I remember of him, it was because that's the last thing he said to me. And it kills him every time he thinks about it. But it's a good story. I've heard Ringo tell it a couple times. But as you know, George is my favorite. So,
well, I hope our podcast is your favorite.
Indeed.
Or at least the listeners that join us live.
I mean, whenever Chris shows up, which is so rare.
It's like, when he's present, it's like we are like the Beatles, When he's not here, it's just like we might as well be Badfinger.
And when Jack skips for 2 weeks, it's like fucking Yoko's gone.
We're the monkeys.
Yoko's gone. He really pulls the room together, guys. Jack should be back. Jack should be back next week. He couldn't make this Thursday night, and Nick couldn't do Tuesday, so it was a little bit of like, which do we want? Do we want to have Nick or do we want to have Jack? It's kind of like, well, Nick won.
We chose Nick.
Yeah. Live or die.
Jack really did, though. For everyone who thinks Jack's cold, he actually was very sweet and said he missed talking to us and was really looking forward to next week.
I think he said that he missed talking to Nick and I, but not Chris. It was kind of funny. Like he fucked over Chris in the texting thread there. It was kudos, Jack.
When he butt dialed us today, did he butt dial all three of us, or was it just?
No, I think it was just
I didn't get butt dialed.
Oh, okay, yeah, he butt dialed me. Yeah,
yeah.
Because I was like, why the hell is Jack calling me?
He just wanted to get in your butt.
You know what's really weird? You know what's really fucking weird is that we sit here and talk to each other for fucking at least an hour and a half every week, face to face on fucking StreamYard. But how jarring would it be if you received a phone call from any one of us? That would be so fucking weird.
It would be.
I'd be like, why the fuck? Like you just said, like, why the fuck?
I would think something was wrong. Yeah.
Dude, for sure. Nick, if you called me tomorrow, I'll be like, fuck, is everything okay?
Yeah. For sure. I would accept a text from you guys before a call. If I get a call from one of you, I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on?
Exactly.
So
Matt finally got busted with the Dolphins, and he's bail money.
Look, I can only smuggle so much pot in those bellies. Like I carve out the insides, I make paper out of it, I put it full of pot, and then I send them back to where they came from. Anyway, if you enjoy what we do, and why wouldn't you, go over to YouTube and subscribe to Ramblecast After Dark. We would really appreciate that. Rate and review us on iTunes, or send us an email like Randy used to. But boy, he's just, after that, he's just no jokes from Randy. We really miss you, bud. Send them to rcadcast@gmail.com. There's some patrons that make this show possible, and I hope that what I talked about them earlier makes up for how lame these names are. Chris, are you ready?
One job.
He's sorry.
I am ready.
Totally non sequitur. There was a theme, and then it completely derailed. So we'll just go with that.
Tax-free tack.
Yeah, it's tax day recently. So, tax day, right?
National Theft Day.
Live, tack, or die. Expert. Do you just write people's names? You didn't do any art.
You just write any word that has the third or first letter. Expert. What's an expert at?
I was going to put sexpert Eckhart, but I thought that would
have
sound
been
weird.
better.
It would have been better.
Yeah. Oh, sexpert would have been?
Yeah. At least you would have got a chuckle out of it.
At least would have some mild attempt at humor.
All right. I know. I'm not trying humor tonight. Here we go. There we go.
Sexpert.
There you go.
Better. See? It's fucking elevated.
Boy, if it's elevated. I like that use of the word.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. Elevator Ed. That's a good one.
It's got a drawing on it too, of an elevator.
He actually fucking gave a shit about that one.
I did. I chose this one.
Mayday Maggie.
Because I will
Mayday.
see Maggie in May. I will see her in May.
During the day. Yeah.
During the day. On a day in May. I will see Maggie.
Not bad.
This one's small for some reason.
Yep. Never again in New Jersey, Joanne.
I was trying to come up with something with J's, and there's not a lot of J words left that I haven't used already. And
I mean, the elevator one's pretty good.
Thank you for all of the public therapy sessions, patrons. Thanks for making this show possible. Thanks for everybody that joined us live, even John, the retreaded UPS guy. Thank you all for joining us live and doing what you do. You make this show possible. Oh, there's my timer. Cookies are done.
Are they grandma's?
They are grandma's. Would you like one? They're 1 in a million.
All right.